good to see all of you today. Hope that wherever you live, it's a pleasant day. So, hello. Today we have a marvelous artist. We have Che Lopez from Washington State.
Hello.
Che has been part of the Northwest Watercolor Society, been part of Daniel Smith. He's a phenomenal teacher and instructor and just an all-around great guy. I think you'll love his artwork and how he explains it. Hello, Che.
Hello. Good morning or wherever you are. Morning, evening, early, midnight.
So I think Ethel, you have a slideshow?
Yes, we have some of the latest artworks, images of some of Jay's latest artworks. Let me just share the screen. Okay. And as usual, we'd like to invite our friends to follow Shay. He's very much active on Instagram. Easy to remember his handle there. It's Art of Che. And it's the same for Facebook. Yes, Art of Che. Shay, we've included here some of your latest artworks, and I'm sure our guest would love to hear a line or two for each of these artworks. We begin here.
Um, that was just something summertime. I want to add Northwest scene next to an old it was a car show painting, I guess. It was just an old, I don't even know what kind of car it is actually, but something chrome and something Northwest. So it's a Northwest kind of car show theme that I kind of put together and enjoyed painting.
Beautiful.
Yeah, this one was for the Edmonds paint out, I think number 2, Hyatt or Hyatt, I'm not even sure how you say it. It was actually for sale, so it was there kind of just sitting there. And so I was hoping someone would buy it, so make it like a huge artist, kind of like all artist gallery or even artist spaces. It's a beautiful old ferry here in Washington. Yeah, this one here was from my trip to Cuba in 2019 before the pandemic, and this was, the shadows really caught my eye. Um, it was really an amazing trip to Cuba, and so this was just a quick painting um, that I just did because I saw it and I just had to paint it. So, and again, the iconic Dick's Burgers. I think this was the last demo I was here. I finished it up. The Dick's Burgers, a nighttime scene. Yeah. This was a beautiful train that's over here in Edmonds. Um, Actually Mukilteo, and so I love the shadows, and it really took a quick picture, did some sketches, and then finally decided to paint it. I have rolls and rolls of inspiration that sometimes I can't do it then, but I open it up when I'm at school or at home, and I kind of just figure out what I'm going to paint that day.
And that's the last artwork in this slide.
Those are neat. They look like a Chevy Bel Air.
Yeah.
But anytime you want to start, Shay.
All right. Well, let's get this show on the road here. So, again, another Northwest scene here. This is I live in Mukilteo, so this is the Mukilteo ferry area, and I caught this picture of the fisherman. I kind of enlarged the fisherman and kind of used the ferry. I believe in just painting where you are, where you live. There's such beauty out there that sometimes we take for granted. Well, not really, not for me, because the Northwest is such a beautiful place. So, um, I'm just gonna go for it because I've been sitting here excited to paint this for a while, just because I really try to paint as quickly as I can, um, whenever I can. So I'm just gonna lay down this wash, see what kind of trouble I can get into today. I think I'm using Fabriano today. I have a um just bunch of paper in a ream that I just grab. Because painting is so easy that you just got to make things difficult for yourself. So not true. So I just kind of grab a piece of paper and whatever it is, it's hot press, cold press. I paint with it. So not sure how I started doing that. I just did it. Bits and pieces here. But shout out to Atlas High School where I teach at, high school art teacher. So give them a shout out. Maybe my students are there. I'll be seeing them soon here. School starts for me in a little bit. See what kind of trouble I can get into here. If anybody have any questions, let me know. I'm used to talking to people. That's the one thing about teaching all the time. It's no longer a solitary thing for me. Sometimes I have radio on or TV on to hear somebody in the background talking.
We're just mesmerized. So stop being mesmerizing and we'll talk more, I
It's
guess.
all good. Probably shine from my head. Probably just, it's
Is the paper wet?
no, it's dry. Just because of the time. So I try to, since I do a lot of plein air painting, I do a lot of things very quickly. So I try not to think about it. I just go from, with my gut and try not to overthink the process.
Anna Marie said I blinked and the painting was already half done.
Oh, sure. All right. Well, it was great to see you guys and see you guys next time.
Diane wants to know if you can share the colors you're using.
Sure. I haven't changed my palette for 20, 30 years, but this is cobalt blue. This blue here, I'm using yellow ochre and a little bit of quinacridone gold. And yeah, that's pretty much. And then yeah, I'm just using simple, keeping it simple. Usually when I do a lot of plein air work, I try to keep the palette as simple as possible, and because of drying times, and that's the hard part, and that's why I love it. I love painting just because it's every single time you go out and you paint outdoors, the shifting of the sun or even just the wind or the clouds. So again, just mostly cobalt here. These are two fishermen on these little, I'm not even sure what they're on, little inflatable. It's a couple of years ago when I'm out with the kids to the beach and trying to create some mischief out in the ocean here. So I usually just lay down the first wash here, just to kind of get everything situated, create those beautiful little things that make watercolor so amazing.
Is your paper around 45 degrees?
Yes. It's at an angle like this, yes. We'll just say it's, yeah. Yeah.
Sorry. Sylvia wants to know what music inspires you while painting.
It just depends, honestly. I listen to a lot of Mana, the Mexican rock group. They're very kind of mellow and rockish, but sometimes if I'm feeling like hyped, some Rage Against the Machine, some heavy, some old R&B. It really depends on my mood that day, and and how I'm feeling. But yeah, I mean, I just whatever suits my fancy for that time. But I always, when I'm playing outdoors, I make sure I just have not completely immersed in the music because the simple fact that you don't know what's around you. So sometimes when you get stuck in painting, you know, danger. There's people out there that sometimes want to do harm. Luckily for me, it never happened, but I'm always super vigilant. Even at school, it's not really in the school that I'm worried about. It's outside that, dangers from the outside coming in. So I always tell everybody just to be vigilant when when you're out and about, when I am teaching or I'm with friends. Right now I'm just mixing some of that, laying down my medium tones here, trying not to get too fussy with what I'm painting, the yellow ochre into that cobalt blue. It's a little wet, which is fine. Sometimes you just got to go with the flow and hopefully it comes out. Try not to overthink it. Luckily, I'm not a big, deep thinker. I just attack the painting. I always tell my students, attack the painting. What's the worst that can happen? It's just paper. You can get more. I also paint a lot behind my paint on the back of paintings if I don't like it. Just building texture at this point, medium tones. I did like a little sketch earlier. I'm gonna add a little bit of a sepia into that cobalt blue to kind of get a little bit of that, just because it migrated in there, some of this yellow ochre to create these little darker tones here, but not get too dark yet. I want this to disappear in the background. I'll go to switch brushes. I use a lot of squirrel mops. And since I'm getting older, I'm going to use my glasses here. Oh, that's what I'm painting. That's always nice to see what you're doing. The hard part for me is not to get fussy. A lot of times when you're painting outdoors, your eyes adjust to whatever's in the background, whatever's happening. And the key is not to follow all those elements out there. Just paint from your gut, paint from your heart, paint what you love. Sometimes
Oops.
yeah.
How many students are in your art class?
Well, I
That you-
teach the whole school. So I have three. So an average class for me is about 35 students, 30, 35 students. So I have students that have gone to Cornish, UW, Cal Arts. So a little bit everywhere, which is great. I'm very proud of my students, giving them that kind of guidance and introduce them to Daniel Smith watercolors. They use a lot of my supplies, like, I was there when the watercolor sticks came out, and so I was lucky enough to get some of those to try out, to demo. So I've kind of had those, and I let my students play with the best. I believe, let our kids play with the best. Even my daughter, which she was raised on Daniel Smith watercolors. She's always like, I remember her teacher, second grade, goes, yeah, Milagros didn't really want to kind of paint or draw because she says the paints were not Daniel Smith. I'm like, oh man, she's already there.
Well, I think everybody watching can say that we're really glad that, you're teaching art in school and you're encouraging kids to be involved in the arts in general. Boy, we need that. So thanks for that.
Yeah, well, thank you. I believe that there should be more people. Then and then it'll make it easier for us, professional artists or established artists to go back to school. There's a lot of hoops you have to jump over, and I think that we got to change that to get more professionals, people that like any of us that have been doing something for such a long time. We have a skill that we need to pass on because what's
Yeah.
the next generation? They need that.
Yeah, for sure.
I also think it's cool that you're encouraging the use of quality product like Daniel Smith, because we all have to start somewhere, but eventually we have to move up, and I love that you're sharing that with the kids.
I believe in using the best products that you can afford, and especially for nothing else, you go ahead and splurge on the paints. Um, and then paint and then paper next, because you want the best so the colors are vibrant and flowing, and you get these beautiful washes. And that's just technique also. I always tell them
Of course.
It's
I always
very disappointing to people that are starting out if their results are bad just because they're not using good supplies.
right.
And
And honestly,
you can
yeah.
lose them.
Watercolor is not an easy medium to start off with. I always tell students, I'm like, it's an advanced medium. Let's not, it's not opaque. It is transparent. So you think the opposite. And so I always tell them, I said, we start with acrylics. I mean, kids in school, elementary school, should start with acrylics or oils, or acrylics at least. But I know teachers have, they got to clean that stuff up, which I understand. They give students watercolors, and sometimes they're trying to paint them like they're acrylics. So I always tell them, once I start getting into my second year for my students, we start focusing more on watercolor, and they got to know the basics of how pigment and color theory start off at. So
Great.
so yeah, so I work my way top to bottom. I'm trying not to get too fussy, but I'm getting too fussy because that's my mind works those ways. I think all our minds work those ways.
How do you teach color theory to kids in an interesting way so that they're not just bored?
I use the masters. What my color theory is, I use Andy Warhol. And I talk about the beauties of Andy Warhol, and we do kind of this kind of pop art. So I tie in color theory or any techniques with a famous artist. So we do multimedia, I use Basquiat, with color, with oil pastels and ink and black ink. So I guess that's what I do. And unfortunately, not a lot of people teach color theory, or even, I teach animation too at my school, and
Oh,
because I was an animator for about 12 years. And so I try to do a little bit of everything to give these kids that foundation. Okay. What's going to happen? I have no idea, and that's the beauty of art. All right.
I was wondering, when you do your outdoor paintings, how much time you spend on them?
About an hour. Depends. This size. This is 11 by 14. We're thinking maybe an hour and a half, hour and 45 minutes. With plenty of drying time in there. I kind of step away and like look around and let the paper dry a little bit. So anywhere from 2 hours. The bigger the painting, the more complex it is. Couple hours. But I try to do it as fast as I can.
What do you use for a setup for painting? painting outdoors?
I created my own kind of setup. I make these little wood grip, they call it the gripper, so it's like a piece of wood that can attach to any tripod. And I drag that around. It's really small, so everything goes in a backpack. And so yeah, so it's just as an artist, you kind of make your own sort of things. Well, that's what I do. That's part of my kind of what I love to do. So but there's a lot of amazing now different setups now, and so to me, find what works for you, or create something, because we're all different in how we think of what we need and what we want. So while I'm fiddling, I'm gonna let that dry a little bit and put a little bit more information here, a little water. I'm trying to treat this as a plein air painting and work as quickly as I can. Hopefully, I won't get too distracted. That's the one thing about painting outdoors is I love the fact that I'm out there. I can hear, like right now, I remember took this picture and just sketch, and I can hear the seagulls. I can hear my kids playing. And that's the beautiful thing about painting outdoors is you hear all these things, not that sometimes we just take pictures of things and we forget the sounds. We forget the laughter of children, my kids playing outdoors out there while I'm painting. And that to me is the exciting part. But, going back to, I think my real education was honestly Daniel Smith. And when I was there in Bellevue, having all these amazing artists every weekend, and I learned a lot from all these amazing artists that came in and demonstrated. I learned what worked and what didn't work, how to connect with people. And then the second part was, the Northwest Watercolor Society, and how, again, meeting amazing artists from all over the country that came in, and I learned that I'm not the only one that paints like this, or doesn't really, I guess, how would you say, you feel like you're kind of an island when you're growing up, later, now I'm older, so, I didn't have YouTube. We didn't have all these different resources. Now we do, and it's amazing to see. Like my master class was Daniel Smith. I ain't gonna lie. I learned so much for those, I don't even know, 10 years I was there, off and on. So I'm thankful for that. So now I'm gonna go and create more havoc up top before I start. Actually, probably lay down something there. You know what? I don't even know what I'm gonna do, but I'm just gonna do this just because that white there is doing something. I didn't do anything, but in my mind it did, so that's all that really matters. And the key is to just enjoy the process, Sometimes, especially with my students, all ages, they're like, what if it doesn't turn out? And I said, all right, perfect. Didn't turn out. What'd you learn from it? What did you learn from the process? What is something that you can do differently next time? You can pick one or two things that you do not like about the painting. And then eventually you're growing when you start noticing two or three things, or, you start noticing that you start liking the majority of the painting. And that's how you learn. That's how you grow as an artist. So I'm trying not to overthink this. La-di-da.
Here's a good question from Lucy. Do you
Yeah.
feel that getting exercise, whatever kind, adds to your creativity? I noticed you are still boxing.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, it's part of my life, I guess, as a former coach and boxer. Yeah, I mean, create it. How would you say? It just relaxes my mind, my body. So yes, it's funny how people either know me as a artist or as a boxing coach, and those two don't really mix. Every once in a while, I have people like, "Oh yeah, I took your boxing class a long time ago," or this and that. Like, oh, okay, cool. That's people either know me as an artist or a boxer. I kind of look like both. I always say I'm unique. Captain of the football team and president of the art club in high school. And I'm still the coolest kid in high school. That's what I tell my students. All right. Don't get too fussy, Chad. Just make your way. It is a lot easier in the studio to paint than outdoors. When it gets hot and muggy, or some kid walks by with ice cream, you're like, oh, that looks good.
Hey, Che, I want to have a boxing match with you.
Let's go. Don't, yeah, I love it.
I know you're gonna beat me, man.
There's no beating. We're both getting hit. I like
No, I'm not good in hitting. Maybe in defense I'm good, but not hitting.
Everybody's always asking me, it's like, what, you want to be a boxer, you don't want to get hit. I said, that's not boxing then. In boxing, you get hit. That's just life.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, no, it's no, I
By the
love.
way, I like what you did until now. I really like the process, how you're doing. Very nice.
Thank you very much. I'm not sure how much longer we have. So I'm gonna try not to overthink this. I keep saying that. See, you got to repeat things all the times.
You have half an hour.
Oh, is that all? No, I was kidding. I can do this in
32
15.
minutes to be exact.
All right, perfect. Thank you. This back part's almost done anyways. I'm already getting bored of it. Not really. One thing I got to remind myself is like not to fill everything in. I think, especially with the way I paint, very similar to Ron Stoke or Alvaro Castanet, just don't fill everything in. Those are two artists that I really admire and I watch a lot. Again, they're friends, which is great, going through, NWS, and I know everybody knows those names. All right. I'm starting to fuss, so I'm gonna go ahead and just do la-di-da, little something here. Slim la-di-da. Some of these little strokes are just like kind of your signature, as in you can't really mimic them. They're kind of like how you write your own name. And it just becomes from muscle memory, kind of like shadow boxing or boxing, which my students get a kick out of when I'm teaching class and I'm walking around and shadow boxing. It's like, who are you fighting? I said, if you don't keep working. All right. right. Well, that's going to be a fairy. We'll just say that's a fairy back there. Okay. That's there we go. So everybody say fairy. So it's a fairy. All right.
Like Bob Ross and his mistakes are they're birds. Now they're birds.
Yeah. No, exactly. Happy that. Oh, yeah. Bob Ross, another one that inspired me at a young age. Bob. Let's see.
Have you tried the watercolor sticks?
I have. I was actually one of the very first ones to actually use them.
I think I saw a really old YouTube video on our channel where you
Easy with
talked about our
the
sticks. Okay, not that old.
but yes, no, that was me. I still use them a lot, and actually have my have my students use them a lot when they're painting because I tell them it's the same thing as the tube stick. So I bring my supply to my classroom and students again use the good stuff.
Love it.
And I'm happy that my school is very well. They're happy to have me there. They give me all as much what I need, which is great. And like I said, I teach 4 different levels of art. Art 1, Art 2, Art 3, and then portfolio arts for students that want to go to any sort of art school or graphic design or whatever, animation. So
What district do you teach in, Jay? Oh.
I teach, it's a public charter school in West Seattle. So it's part of the Seattle School District, but it's not Seattle. It's its own little district. And so we're a small school, about 300, maybe less than 400 students altogether, maybe less than that. So I teach all the students, which is great. A lot of them don't know they want to go into art until they become,
Yeah. Because I don't think that's common for a lot of schools to have 1, 2, 3, and 4 level of art. So
No, and I'm very blessed that my administration, well, they know what they have, and I'm not trying to like boast, but I'm good at what I do. And I tell them, I said, listen, you guys hired me to create a program from scratch. This is the program I can create. This is what we can do for our students, and so they again, they give me the resources, all the resources that I need, again, within reason. I wish there was always more, but yeah. A lot of times I got to remind myself that everybody has a professional like me teaching in high school.
Yeah.
And
or a school that's interested in art. I mean, John talks always about when we're out of the country, certain countries like Peru that is so involved in youth and art, and other countries. It's nice to see it here, even from your program only. And I know how much you do contribute. So I've watched it. So
is that Catherine?
Yeah.
Oh my, yeah.
I'm your biggest cheerleader here. So
I remember you.
I will say, so you keep painting, but I will tell people it's back to the old story we had. We had a desk and we had a little, so I was managing the store, Daniel Smith's store at the time, and Jay was working there when he still had his boxing studio. And he would come in and we'd have a little sign on this desk that said, Chay's in or Chay's out, because people would line up wanting to watch Che paint and hear his insights and learn about what he was doing with sticks and watercolor. And so he would hang up his boxing, gear and stuff, and then he'd change into his Dan Smith apron and he'd go to work behind the desk at Dan Smith. And he has inspired a lot of people to use Daniel Smith or to be interested in the arts. I remember, Che, when you got first going over to the Kirkland Arts Center, I mean, way back when you were going to start, I mean, so you've touched a lot of people through art and all of us,
and boxing.
And boxing, of course.
Especially touched him in boxing.
Oh my gosh, those were really good days. But yeah, he hung up one and put on the Dan Smith apron and picked up another set of tools and did it brilliantly. So
Well, thank you. Well, yeah, I always say I was the first brand ambassador,
yeah, I
or
know.
there was a brand ambassadors.
Yeah, need to do something about that.
So yeah,
And Cindy Valdez. Do you know Cindy Valdez?
oh, I know Cindy. I know all those. Those are old school. Yeah. Oh yeah. This is another one of my
Cindy
managers.
said, yeah, she said you're a fabulous artist and dedicated mentor, and your students are blessed to be in such a great program.
This is
Right.
too much for me. I gotta have you guys come up. I gotta have you guys follow me around.
The Che fan club.
Yeah. You do things long enough, people remember you. And I taught at the Kirkland Art Center or just the East Side for so long that I would just be walking around or painting and like, oh yeah, I took a class with him. And I was like, oh, okay. I don't remember much, but all right, let's see. What am I doing here? I don't know. Whatever happens, happens.
We've got some plein air questions.
Yeah.
Letty wants to know, do you have a favorite must-have 2 or 3 colors to bring with you? Plein air. Diane asked the same question. And do you have like a plein air partner? Do you have like people you plein air paint with?
I wish I did. I really don't. Only because I kind of do whenever my kids are on break or if I have a break or I'm dropping somebody off. So I actually finally ordered my own little brass palette. And so I actually these are the colors I use and I've been using for over, I don't know, since high school. So 30 plus years ago, so I carry this around or I have my pocket palette that I have, but really all you use your primer is yellow, red, and blue, I use my Hansa Yellow Medium. If I had anything, it would just my primaries. I try to keep it simple, not to overthink it. And I think that's the beautiful thing about like working at the stores. Again, the master class of art is and kind of pigment is because they trained us well. We used to have training of all the pigments that would come in. They would have us paint with them and make like demo cards or cards with the information on there or like a little painting with the triads. So to me, that was schooling. And again, I know that fact that not everybody has that kind of opportunity to be in that kind of environment. And because they always ask, how did you learn all this stuff? It's like, well, you know what? There's Disneyland and there's Daniel Smith in my mind. Daniel Smith is the artist Disneyland. And I'm still upset that they closed the stores, but I understand. Because I really miss going there, and I think everybody misses going there.
Yeah, I went to NAMTA in Seattle and I was sitting at the Daniel Smith booth, and I cannot tell you how many people came up and were like, "We're so mad at you, so mad at you." I was like, "I didn't do it." Yeah, a lot of people. It was a community, right?
It really was.
Yeah, we've been mourning it
but
for years.
That's business, I mean, that's how it is, that's life sometimes. And I always tell people that's just life, we got to, sometimes, I closed my gym, and again, it was sad for me too. And just understanding sometimes you have to do the hard things in life, and that's it.
For those of us that live further away, we're so grateful that the community has moved online and that we get to participate here.
Yes.
I'm so grateful for that, and that I get to appreciate Kay's presentation today here and now.
Yes, I was going to say that as well. I moved out of Seattle and I missed the store, but I'm so happy that that John has put this up for everybody to enjoy, a greater audience. So thank you.
Yeah, no, definitely. That is the nice thing, Every once in a while I'm in class, or when I'm in class, I just kind of I see it on and I jump on and listen, and get inspired, like anybody else. Even though I do this for a living, you need inspiration. And to me, that's the beautiful part about what we do is being inspired, the community. That's one thing I miss about not being involved so much with Daniel Smith and also just NWS is the community all the people that I met, and that's why I signed up again and want to be more involved and be part of that community once again. All right. I'm surprised my son hasn't been knocking at my door. But very thankful to have this painting time.
Well, we're honored you joined us today.
Oh, it's anytime Daniel Smith reaches out, yes, when, how long, what do you need?
Do you have some favorite subjects that you love?
Whatever. I know students always ask me that. And you know what? The favorite subject is what I'm painting right now. I love whatever I'm painting, but also the Northwest. I love painting what I see every single day. I think sometimes we forget about just the things that are just right next to us. And that's what I do mostly is go out I live in Everett, Mukilteo area. So I go down to the waterfront and I go and paint out there. So lately I've just painting, the beauty of the Northwest or wherever I go. My in-laws used to live in Moscow, Kansas, middle kind of nowhere really. I would love going there and painting Kansas is middle of nowhere, Kansas. It was like you can almost see the curvature of the earth. It was so flat. The beauty was so different than here that to me it was just an amazing experience again to paint out there. And if I go on vacation, I paint. I went to Cuba, did a painting there. I went to New Orleans, went there. I went to Miami. Didn't paint in Miami because that humidity. Yeah, no.
Question, Che,
Yes.
when you travel, do you observe that the light causes you to want to paint in different colors or that the light shifts with each location you're at? What is your observation with that?
Yeah. So I guess yes and no. So I do see the light shifting. I do see all those different things shifting, but I try not to me, it's about values. To me, it's about composition. So it could be whatever color, but it's about, again, the composition and the values. So I try not to chase the colors too much. And sometimes I fail. Sometimes I'm like, oh, I want to make something really lime green, and then the colors I use don't really, vibe with that. So, but I think now that I'm kind of stuck in my ways now. I think I just paint the way I paint, and I use the colors that I use. My good friend Maria Coriel Martin, the one that the art toolkit, she always calls me for like pigment, color questions about what should I use, and I kind of since I use pretty much all of them, I've kind of go, okay, I would use this, and so what do you use, Maria? I've used the same 16 pigments for 30 plus years. All right, well, could have beaten this up enough. I don't like that stuff, but it's all right. Huh, okay, all right. Like I said, I treat this like a plein air painting. Trying to think about it too much. I'm trying to think and nothing's happening. There's also that too. I mean, when I started doing the Zoom, when I first started working at my high school, that I would just have like where I am right now, I'm just talking, and some of the kids would thought I had Tourette's because I would just continue talking, and they never turned their cameras on, so I sit there and talk to myself for hours on end, which is great. All right. I'm actually trying to get this finished in that time period just because why not? Trying to look at it here through the camera. Yep, it's a hot mess, and that's how it was designed to be. That's what happens. You just look at it, you're like, it's a hot mess. Like, yep, that's how it was. That's how it is. But like anything else, you do get a little bit rusty, because I haven't painted for about a month since my daughter's quinceañera just happened, and so dealing with that. But I feel a little rusty. Don't tell anybody. It's just us here. The good news is no one's watching right now, and I'm by myself. How can I ruin this more? Let me count the ways. Let me see. What do I see? What do I see? What do I see? Where's that timer at? What are we on? I'm guessing 12 minutes. Am I close?
Minutes.
But
How many?
yes. No. 12 minutes.
Oh, I was so close. Did I say 12? Maybe 14.
Wow.
Yeah.
Right on.
That's my life drawing days. When I would do a lot of life drawing, you kind of have that innate kind of like when the model's gonna change or all those sorts of things.
Those little lines made all the difference. Now we know what
Yeah.
they're doing.
Yeah. I'm glad someone does. Yeah, that was all scripted, and yeah, a lot of times whenever people would come up and go, "Hey, oh my goodness, that's a great looking painting," and I would start talking about like, "Oh, I don't like this, I don't like that," and then they would like walk away like, I don't know, not very happy, not happy, but just kind of like, "Oh, he's not enjoying what he loves." So now I just talk about, yeah, I love it. I love every stroke is amazing. Everything. But like anything else, it's our interpretation. Like we are really, as artists, we are tough on ourselves, and we have to be kind of aware that it's all subjective. Everybody sees things differently, and
I think that's really important for artists who are just learning and starting to hear
yeah,
that we all go through that mental process.
oh yeah, oh yeah. It is something that it never changes, and I hope it never does for me. And I have a lot, Ron has the same thing, and all these amazing artists, every artist at NWS has the same, everybody that does this for a living has the same insecurities that beginning artist does. And that's life. All right, let's put some little highlights in here, and then I'm gonna put a fork in this one if I can find where I put my stuff at. Nope, that's dry. Nope, that's dry. Don't mind me, I'm just looking for white. So what happens when you have all stuff in different places. All right. So last time I cleaned up my studio, try to be impressed. All right.
But
Chinese
if you
lighting.
clean it, you won't be able to find anything.
It's true. All right. Well, call this one Dunzos. And then again, the laughter and the applause will come right afterwards, right? Is that what's gonna, so everyone's waiting for?
What color are you using for those dark marks you made previously?
Right here. Sepia and then my blue. And then my
Were you
cobalt
mixing
blue.
them together?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Yeah. I try not to add too many colors. It's maybe 4 different colors in here, if that. For one thing, I get confused very easily, so I'm trying not to get confused. And 2, trying to put some interest here so people know. Look here. Little shine on the hat. Whatever. This is a crap pot, I think. I don't know. Who knows? A little bit of more white as I splatter my whole studio, my laptops, and everything, because why not? So one thing I try to do is once I sign it, I don't paint on it again. I stop myself from continue working on something, or I have this ledge on my studio that I put work on, commissions or anything, and in the morning I take a look at it to see yay or nay. That's one of a mentor of mine told me, when you have a studio, get a little ledge that you can put your work on, so you can kind of see what's working, what's not, and then finish it. Finish it. All right, well. The good thing about this is that I always tell my students this, is that you can, like, if you don't like it or something's not working, close one eye. So everybody do me a favor. Everybody close one eye. See that? All right. Now close the other eye. See that? See, when you close both eyes, all the worries and everything goes away. Pro tip for you guys at home. Just close both eyes and you're good to go. Let me put some cacas out, some birds out here in the distance. That was an old, do that a lot. Some cacas out here somewhere. Built, create some movement. Don't make them too big. You don't want to make them, those are dinosaurs or what are they are? What are the big dinosaurs called? The flying ones?
Pterodactyls.
Yeah, I don't want to make them pterodactyl. Thank you. I did just had it in my mind and just whoop. So usually they're flying around here, around the ferry. All right. I think this hot mess is done. I think it's within, I'm gonna take the tape off, and sometimes that works and sometimes it doesn't. But it's about the process. This is what I tell everybody. The good news, I had an amazing time. And to me, this is what we do, why we do, is to enjoy the process. If you're not enjoying it, why do it? And I'm very blessed to be here with you guys and to enjoy, and hopefully we laughed. Some of us might have cried, but that's okay too. Crying is good for the soul.
Yeah.
And yeah, so there we go. Here's a hot mess painting brought to you by Che Lopez and Everett, Washington.
Gosh, if that's a hot mess, I hope all my paintings turn out like hot
Yeah,
mess.
exactly. Jeez.
Amen.
Well, I appreciate that. Who knows? You never know until the next day. I enjoy the process pretty much. I enjoy the process. To me, I wanted to get the painting finished today. So yeah.
That's great.
It looks nice. I like it.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Great to
Enjoy
see you,
it.
Jay.
Yeah.
Great session, Chair. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you very much,
you.
everybody. Appreciate you all.
Thank you, Jay. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for joining
Thanks.
today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jay.
Thank you,
That's
Jay.
great.
Keep doing your
Keep
good work with
Have a
inspiring
the
wonderful
kids.
weekend.